Pekné poobede všetkým.
Good afternoon.
Vítam vás.
I would like to welcome you in the B section where we'll talk about AI in software development and insurance. If you would like to ask questions, please use the password InnovAIte 1. I don't know if it's with a dot or without dot, but it should be InnovAIte Žilina 1.
InnovAIte site.
Oh, so it's actually InnovAIte side. You can see it here on the screen. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Stanislav Vasilko from Gratex company. He will talk about GNOTHEIA, AI-based ecosystem for insurance claims. Hello, I would like to welcome you here. Originally, I wanted to talk about the entire history 30 years back till today. But they told me I have only a couple of minutes, so I will try to keep it short. Many of you remember the times how it used to be also in insurance when we were collecting the labels in the classic computers. We were dealing with the digitization of a paper documentation. When we were collecting 10,000 of pages and digitizing them, we were also cleaning the working tables and talking about the insurance handlers from that they need to become quasi-runners in order to find the correct documentation. Back then we were talking about the fact that they should become digitized. Nowadays the situation is very different. Before we had the digital labels, maybe we were the first time in the world that they had the first system in the Microsoft SQL server. It was in the year 1995. We have connected the insurance companies through the satellite networks because back then we didn't have any internet or telecom communication as we have it now. Now, after 30 years, we are discussing about the fact that we should communicate via satellites. We should all be connected through a secure connection to eliminate risks through physical cables. So now this is coming back. But the narrative has dramatically changed. Now we talk about this. Everybody wants not only the information, not only full-back search, not only information upon your fingertips. They want specific answers, specific knowledge, and specifically truth about what's going on around them. And this should be correctly interpreted. So not only black box guided answers, but glass box guided solutions that declare how did we answer the questions that we can see on the screen within the innovation project. So now there is a system dealing with knowledge and the truth via Gnosis and Aletheia. So we have made a name GNOTHEIA that is based on these two words. The question is why? We just talked about the regulations before. We have the AI Act. We have many tries trying to deploy the AI in the society. But within the insurance, it works slightly differently. We have a lot of regulation. Everybody is looking at our fingertips, and it will get increasingly worse. That's why the answer to this question is the following.
Stakes are super high, and they come with this absolute flood of information. So making the right call, time and time again, is a massive challenge. But what if AI wasn't some kind of robot judge making all the decisions? What if instead it could be a truly trustworthy partner for the human expert? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today with the GNOTHEIA ecosystem.
So, let's meet George Claimsworth. He's a seasoned pro, an expert in insurance claims. We're talking years of experience, razor-sharp instincts. He's exactly the kind of person you want in your corner when something's gone wrong. Basically, he's at the heart of every single important decision.
And this is what he's up against every single day. It's a total storm of information. You got police reports, photos from a smartphone, super complex regulations, and then these monster policy documents that go on for pages. His job? To somehow find a clear, correct path through all that chaos. And believe me, it is not getting any easier. All right, so let's dive right into George's data maze. I mean, to really get why the solution is so cool, you first have to understand just how complex this whole challenge is.
Okay, so this really lays out why you can't just throw any old AI at this problem. It's just not going to cut it. I mean, think about it. You have to pull together all this different stuff, a formal police report, a kind of blurry photo from a phone, claim forms, and the insurance policy itself. And all of that has to be balanced against really complex business rules and some pretty tough regulations. And this is the big one, at the end of the day, a human, George, is the one who's accountable. That means every single decision has to be consistent, totally auditable, and something you can stand behind.
So if a simple AI isn't the answer, then what is? Well, the GNOTHEIA project takes a totally different approach. They're not just building another tool. Nope, they're creating a whole ecosystem, a new kind of partner for George. And this partner even has a name, Mike. Now, Mike is the AI agent that coordinates everything in GNOTHEIA. And I love this quote from him because it just gets right to the point. My role is not to replace professional judgment, but to strengthen it. See? The whole goal isn't to get rid of George. It's to make him even better at his job. So you can think of Mike as the ultimate orchestrator. He's the one who connects all the dots, between that police report, the fine print in the policy, and all the facts of the claim. He makes sure George doesn't have to go digging for information scattered across a dozen different systems. Instead, he brings it all together, right there, to help make a decision that's transparent and really well structured. Okay, so how exactly does Mike take that chaos, that data maze, and turn it into a clear path forward? Well, the secret sauce is right here in the system's core engine, the poly-context processor. Now, this is the absolute key to understanding how GNOTHEIA works. It's this idea of a poly-context. The best way to think about it is like a secure digital briefcase for one specific claim. Everything, and I mean everything, related to that claim gets put into this one single package. And that package is structured, it's explainable, and it's totally auditable. And here's how that engine, the processor, actually works. First, it's constantly watching all the places where new information might come in, 24/7. So, let's say a new email arrives with a repair estimate. Bam! The processor instantly creates or updates the claim's polycontext. Then, it binds that new piece of evidence together with everything else it already knows, the facts, the policy rules, you name it. After that, it tells the AI models to take a look at this whole complete package. It logs every single thing it does. And finally, it serves up this nice structured summary for George to make the final call. So, what's actually inside this digital briefcase? Well, you've got all the basic facts of the claim. You've got all the important knowledge pulled from the documents. And here's something that's absolutely crucial. It includes a snapshot of the insurance policy exactly as it was on the date the loss happened. No confusion there. It also has the specific business rules that apply, written in a special format that both people and computers can understand perfectly. And of course, a full journal of everything that's happened, which gives you a perfect audit trail. And this right here, this is the whole point. The AI isn't just looking at a bunch of random raw data files. It's working with a complete, structured package of information that's ready for a decision. And that one shift, from messy, fragmented data to structured context, that is what makes the whole system trustworthy. Okay, so that sounds incredibly organized, right? But let's be real. We live in a world where AI can often feel like a black box. So how can George and his company actually trust the advice it's giving? Well, that's where the system's built-in guardrails come into play. So the system's performance is constantly being measured against really rigorous benchmarks. We're talking about things like accuracy, of course, but also fairness, bias, and robustness. It's not just about speed or getting it right. It's about actively checking, is it fair? Is there any bias creeping in? What happens when you throw it a curveball? These aren't just afterthoughts. They're core to how the system is evaluated. And here's the crucial thing. Trustworthiness is designed into this system from the very beginning. It's not an afterthought. It's built to align with major frameworks for trustworthy AI. You've got that full audit trail, you've got checks on everything the AI puts out. Compliance is basically baked into the system's DNA. And most importantly, having a human in the loop, that's not optional. It is absolutely mandatory. All right, let's bring it all back to George, because this whole sophisticated ecosystem, it's really all designed around one simple idea: empower the human expert. Don't replace them. It's all about augmentation. And really, this chart shows the two different paths we can take with AI in jobs like this. On one side, you've got the replacement model, the black box that tries to automate the human right out of the picture. But GNOTHEIA, it's firmly on the other side, the augmentation side. It's designed to be a transparent partner that empowers George, strengthening his judgment with better, clearer, and way more organized information. So what does all of this actually mean in the real world? Well, for George, it means he can pull all the evidence together in minutes, not hours. For his company, it means their decisions are way more consistent, which lowers risk and makes for happier customers. And because every recommendation is completely explainable, they're always ready for an audit or any new regulations that come along. This really isn't just another tool. It's a foundation for a much smarter way of working. And that really leaves us with a final big question to think about. This whole model of human-AI collaboration, it's way bigger than just insurance, right? So when we stop trying to replace our experts and instead focus on building systems that amplify their intelligence, just imagine what other incredibly complex problems might suddenly become solvable. What other frontiers could we tackle?
So in 6 minutes, we have described what we've been trying or we are trying to achieve. Nevertheless, we have been building this for almost a year now, but it's starting to come into life. These models are becoming aware of each other. Since the beginning, this has been declared and controlled by what the AI regulation expects from us. And the support of specific operators of insurance claims, it's for them. It's not to replace their decision making. It's in order to shorten and make this difficult preparation of documentation more transparent and easier. And in this very difficult world of decision making, to provide a support for them when they make a certain decision so it's supported by specific hard facts that have been processed within the entire ecosystem of the interaction of the insurer and the policyholder. What is important? We call it all a support for a human-based decision-making, but we also talk about Mike, a character. I will keep it short. He has appeared 30 years ago. Mike was someone who has been helping us, and he's still here. But we are trying to use his experience and to make him become someone who will help us to coordinate and transparently lead the entire ecosystem. And now, after a year, we know he came to life. Mike is coming into the picture now. You have met him today. We call him a Mike. It is an agent who tries to organize, coordinate, and solve the entire ecosystem in order to support the claim adjuster. Just ask Mike, how does he enter the picture?
I'm Mike, the GNOTHEIA Ecosystem Coordination Agent. I'm here to work alongside George Klainsworth, the human expert who remains at the center of every decision. Together, we handle complex insurance claims with greater clarity, structure, and context. At this work desk, I help connect claim information, policy and coverage conditions, business rules, regulatory signals, and explainability into one coordinated working environment. I orchestrate the ecosystem around the human expert so that relevant knowledge does not remain scattered across separate systems, documents, and decisions. My role is not to replace professional judgment, but to strengthen it, making decisions more transparent, more consistent, and easier to understand and justify. And where am I heading? Towards a way of working in which human expertise remains at the center, supported by trustworthy, coordinated, and intelligible AI. That is the path of GNOTHEIA. Thank you for hearing me out, and I wish you collected as many answers as possible today. See you later. Bye.
What is important? The declaration of what we want to do has been pinpointed here, and is required by the legislation and the regulation. In this critical segment of insurance, we should not replace the human decision-making. We want to support it. So this is something That is the cornerstone of our solution. It is not that easy that every single decision, judgment, artifact within our ecosystem to be transferred to the help desk of George Claimsworth, the living claim adjuster. It has to be supported by us. We need to be able to provide arguments based on which artifacts the specific information has been collected, has been evaluated, so for us to be able to go backwards and to provide information for and make it transparent, clean, fast, and at the end of the day also cost efficient. It is important to say that this GNOTHEIA ecosystem that we have been mentioning, it supports the entire workflow and the ecosystem connected to the claims. It starts with collecting after an accident happens, after loss is there, we collect all the information, all the artifacts and the documents about the claims. So it is at first this documentation is read by it. There is a specific knowledge record created. Then we also transfer the information from guidelines, regulations into a clear formulated knowledge data sets that are written in a natural language. So they are also human readable. So you are able to read it, and AI is also able to read it very efficiently. So our research is focused on the fact that we are trying to prove that the built-in artifacts of this built-in ecosystem, safeguarding the ethical and compliance principle, are also safeguarding all the metrics of the fight against biases, toxicity, calibration, robustness of the specific AI models to make sure they are working correctly. And we also have to know when somebody asks to be able to explain why and how did we end up with a certain explanation? Because the certain insurance adjuster have to be able to understand how certain decision-making process happens, what is the background of it. So for GNOTHEIA, it is important to be able to serve our future customers so they don't have to go through the entire torture of research of the entire setup of this ecosystem themselves, because it's extremely expensive and difficult, and there are many people in the insurance companies that are underestimating this because they see the iceberg above the water, but the rest that is underneath, they tend to underestimate also when it comes to the costs. And we are lucky because also the previous presenter has mentioned it, we have been audited since the beginning till the end via different institutions and also partners from the consortium. So everything we say has to be compliant. It is the truth. We have to prove that the investment into this research is truly compliant with the parameters of these regulations. Another important thing is there are two carrying ideas within the projects. One is that the business knowledge that today is available in the publicly available documents, we are transferring it into a knowledge-based, a tangible knowledge-base written in natural language. Here we have the formalization that we have selected. This is the standard for business vocabulary rules, an international standard that every language models also understand well. It is possible to write and evaluate diverse rules in them. Also, very efficiently, you can look for contradictions in them. And we also deliver a situation into this solution. We are trying to evaluate these rules not only with deterministic methods, but also with the AI or language model. It is very important that it's trustworthy, that it's clear, that it has not changed.
And what's important, and it has been mentioned today, the cornerstone is the polycontext processor. That is the orchestrator. That is Mike who orchestrates it and puts it all together. He runs above all the standards that are valid for this domain, this insurance domain that is stored in ontology defined prompts. He can extract it, but also runs above ad hoc information as a part of some claims, because sometimes you don't know when some certain information comes, and he prepares for a particular person interim summary reports at different levels of detail that that person needs, and is able to notify or warn about the missing artifacts, so that that person can make the decision, or the artifacts that indicate that the decision could be negative. So he makes a clear warning that certain facts of the case needs to be checked. And what's important as well is that the solution has to be transparent, obviously, and the transparency consists in the fact that it's completely verified and evaluated and proved on tens of thousands of particular specific testing scenarios that are evaluated and assessed in detail and made available as support sets to the public so that they can be developed further. And what's important as well is that in the entire solution, we work with various models of AI. We use one model for executing the evolution of this whole context. We use the European model called Crystal that can be adjusted, but all the time without being switched off, we have another model that uses completely different technologies or different language models that check the consistency and the accuracy and transparency of all the answers that the solution provides to a particular person. And this all-time compliance is an essential minimum that we know and we need. Maybe something else will come in the future, but we will be ready. For all future partners, what may be interesting is that we are ready for integration with any insurance systems, because internally, we work with a domain standard. So in future integration, we will always do the transformation to our internal standard that is well known all over the world. We use a global insurance model that we develop in this project, InnovAIte, and so of course we will test the migration together with the client. As part of the solution, we will also provide the user interface that that particular claim adjuster will use. We call him, a generic name, George. So for that person who will be processing the claims. And I'm coming to the end of my presentation, but I would like to point out one paper that we published together with some of the colleagues, and the paper talks about the way we extracted and transformed this general knowledge from some general documents and legislation and also specific product leaflets into this organized knowledge base, and we enrich the insurance ontology and the rules. And if you are interested, of course, we can present you this research paper also after this session. During the coffee break, we'll be happy to explain it to you. So thank you very much, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Ďakujem pekne Stanovi Vasilkovi.
Thank you very much to Stanislav Vasilko from Gratex company. Do you have any questions?
Ďakujem za prezentáciu. Ja mám takú otázku vlastne.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I have a question. In the artifacts that come to this poly context, I think I can see a room for an adversarial attack, because if we put in the data that are designed there, could be designed in a way so that those agents may fail. Because I see it as quite a big risk. So what is your take on this? How to prevent it? The microphone, please. Yes, we are trying to test or to rehearse these attacks, of course, but I would say that all the checks on the way, it's not just AI world, it's a hybrid model of some deterministic checks and processing, and only at some points we evaluate particular rules that are in the SBVR and any issues of possible inconsistencies. So we published the data set that has been trained, and it will be clear to what extent we try to rehearse, these problems, and we will see, to what extent we have been successful. Thank you very much. Can we show up Slido on the screen, please, to see if we have any questions? Okay, the Slido's on. There are no questions yet. Again, an applause for Stano.